Oh boy there, welcome to the Glass Bottom Boat Adventure. My name is Matt, and I'll be your captain today. In the back we have our trusty navigator of this lagoon, Miss Gracie. Now millions of years ago, this area was covered by ocean. Over time, the Smoky Mountains rose up and pushed most of the water back towards the Atlantic. Some went west and formed the Mississippi River. Right here in the heart of Gatlinburg, though, somehow this lagoon remained. We believe during his travels, Blackbeard the pirate found the lagoon and thought it would be a wonderful place to hide some treasure because it is guarded by 17 fully grown sharks. We have 11 sand tiger sharks, 3 nurse sharks, 2 sandbar sharks, and a black tip reef shark in here. We have found most of Blackbeard's treasure, but not all of it. I'll need your help looking for some clues to finding the rest. Those clues are going to be our 2 sawfish, our southern stingray, she's the only stingray in the lagoon, and if we're lucky we'll see our very elusive green sea turtle. If you see any of those wonderful creatures under the boat, point them out and yell treasure and I'll tell you everything I can about them. If you see something down there you want to know more about, feel free to ask, but please be a little more specific than, ooh, what's that? There are over 5,000 that's down there from 76 different species. It might take a minute to figure out which that you're talking about. Below us, you'll see our most exotic and dangerous creature. That tunnel is where we keep the people fish. Don't be afraid, we train them. If you wave at them, they should wave back. More advanced ones may even try to take your picture. Some don't quite seem to notice us. We call those oblivious fish. Watch out for the tiny people fish. They're the most dangerous. If you stare into their eyes for too long, they'll steal your hearts, and then they'll steal your paychecks. I feel like there's some experience with that here already. Now we are floating on top of over 550,000 gallons of man-made salt water. I did say it is all man-made. We are a little too far away from the ocean to carry a bucket back and forth every day. We did try. It did not work. Gracie got tired on the first day. Now we just take Gatlinburg city water, we filter out the stuff the people want, and we put in all the stuff the fish need, which does include several 100 pounds of salt. And it is just regular table salt, nothing fancy. We filter out all the water in here every 74 minutes. We have some pretty big water filters. Now this right here is our female sandbar shark. Oh, and if you'll lean forward, look down towards Miss Gracie's feet, you'll see that green sea turtle. Now that sea turtle, her name is Sally. She is almost 6 feet long from nose to tail. She's about 4 feet wide from flipper to flipper, and she weighs just about 500 pounds. She's kind of big. She's young though. She's only about 60 years old. Which I know some people think it's a little weird when I say it like that. She could live to be 120 years old or even older. She's got a nice, long, happy life ahead of her. Now, I did say that she is a green sea turtle, and I'm not just saying that she's a turtle that's green. That is the name of the species. That name could be a little confusing if you ever saw her out of the water. She doesn't look green at all. Her scales are brown, so is her shell. Her skin is kind of a grayish color, and her belly is yellow. They get the name green sea turtle because they have a layer of fat under their skin that is green. Kind of weird, huh? Now, do y'all think the coral in this tank is real or fake? Fake. Real? Well, it is real convincing. All of the coral in here has to be fake because coral is a living, breathing, and very fragile animal. If a diver bumped into live coral, they could break it and harm it. That would make us sad. Coral is extremely endangered. We're down to around 20% left in the ocean. So what you see in this tank is made out of stuff like concrete, plaster, and latex. There is some live coral in the aquarium. We keep it in smaller tanks the divers don't go down into. Yep. That is our southern stingray. She is the oldest and largest southern stingray in the aquarium. She's about 5 feet across, 75 to 100 pounds, and she's about 20 to 25 years old. That is old for stingrays. They typically live to be about 15 to 20 in the wild. Here in captivity, she could live as long as 30 to 32 years.
You're a little bit late.
And this right here is a female sand tiger shark. I know she's a female because of her size. Females will always be larger than males. They're the ones who carry the babies, and it's harder to swim when you have passengers on board. They need the extra muscle to help them out. Sand tiger sharks are very popular sharks for aquariums because they have a ferocious, dangerous, and aggressive-looking appearance, even though they're actually one of the most docile species of shark in the world. We love sharks like that in aquariums because the people who come to visit like to see the sharks that look scary, but the people who dive in the water with the sharks don't want to be down there with dangerous and aggressive sharks. It's the best of both worlds. And yes, that is another one of our treasures. That is our female sawfish. Now, she is the largest fish in the aquarium, weighing in at right around 400 pounds. I know I did say the turtle weighs about 500, but she's a reptile, not a fish, and as said, the sawfish is the largest fish. But the sea turtle is the largest animal in the aquarium, unless my brother comes to visit. That sawfish, he's about 12 to 13 feet in length. We have a male sawfish. He's not a big fan of the boat, so we don't always get to see him. But the male is about 16 feet in length, making him the longest fish in the aquarium. Only weighs about 200 to 250 pounds, so while he is longer, the female right here is larger. The nose on the sawfish is called a rostrum. The spikes that come out of the side are not teeth or bone. They are made out of keratin, the same stuff your hair and fingernails are made out of. I like to say they have really hairy noses. Now the spikes do feel more like your fingernails. They may break off every now and then. As long as they don't break off too close to the rostrum, they should grow back. Now by show of hands, how many people think the sawfish kind of looks like a shark? How many people think the sawfish is a shark? How many more people thought they were before I started asking questions about it? I get a lot of yeses of that, that's why I like to ask it. Sawfish are not sharks though. They're actually in the ray family. Yeah, very closely related to things like stingrays, manta rays, guitar fish and electric rays, and I didn't make those last two things up either. Now, the biggest way we know that sawfish are rays and not sharks is actually just because of where their gills are. Like all rays, their gills are on the bottom of their bodies. Sharks' gills will always be on the sides. It's our female sandbar shark there again. Does anybody have any questions for me right now? Is anybody wondering why the fish don't eat all the sharks in here all the time?
I don't see it.
So the fish are too small to eat the sharks. The reason the sharks don't eat the fish is because we feed them twice a week. They get fed every Tuesday and Thursday. They get about 3 to 5% of their body weight in food every week. In the wild, sharks will be lucky to get about 1% of their body weight in food every week, so we're overfeeding these sharks. They get fancy stuff too, like salmon, mahi, halibut, and bluefin. They're eating better than I do, so if you ever wonder where the admission money is going, it is into their bellies, not my paycheck.
Look at all these little bitty fish.
Have you ever heard that sharks have to swim forward all the time to breathe, even when they're asleep? That is true for most sharks, but you might be able to see that one laying down there at the bottom of the tank. That is a nurse shark, and they're an exception to that rule. They belong to a family of shark species that are known as carpet sharks. As the name implies, they can lay on the seafloor. They have muscles that pump water through their gills that most sharks don't have. In the wild, nurse sharks will sleep together in pods. They'll pile on top of each other. We only have 3 in here though, and I guess they just don't think that's big enough for a pod, because every now and then when the divers are in the water, if they're not careful and accidentally bump into a nurse shark, that shark may chase the diver around the lagoon, trying to cuddle with the diver. Yeah, who is expecting to hear about cuddly sharks today? No one ever does.
There's a big shark. See a big shark.
Now down at the bottom of the tank, you're going to see some long, slender fish with shiny bellies. Those are called tarpon. Tarpon have been around since the time of the dinosaur. That species has survived for so long because of the outrageously large number of eggs they can lay at one time. A single female tarpon can lay up to 12 million eggs at one time. They have a breeding season. During the breeding season, they can lay eggs a couple times. They've been known to produce anywhere from 4 to 20 million eggs in one season. They start laying eggs at around 7 to 13 years old. Lay eggs just about every year, and females can live to be up to around 50. That is why all 3 of the tarpon in this tank are female. One male, this would not be Shark Lagoon anymore, this would be Tarpon Tank. We'd be trying to get rid of them with things like Tarpon Taco Tuesday, buy one t-shirt, get one tarpon free, and everyone gets to leave with a free tarpon.